up guys, welcome back to today's video and welcome back to another episode of Vlogmas. I'm getting a little bit of a late start to things today because last night when I was editing yesterday's video, I got this terrible headache and I just couldn't look at the screen anymore. So I edited the first half of it, and then this morning I got up and I edited the second half and uploaded it and everything, which takes a lot of time. You'd be surprised at how long it takes just to put together a video sometimes. Especially I can kind of put the video together, but if I want to add little bells and whistles and make the transitions just that much better, it gets ridiculous the amount of time it takes. Anyway, it actually kind of works out that we're doing this later in the afternoon because today's plan is to finally start getting the wiring harness on the front of the Mustang going. As you can see, this is from my old turn signal setup. I've got a couple resistors just kind of dangling, and then there's also this white wire that was used to power this little control module. So this little control module receives all the inputs and everything, and then it controls the lights, and I'm pretty sure that's because they have a sequence. So this is kind of like the sequencer box that controls it. So when it receives the signal from the car, this little control module tells the light to go do-do-do instead of just sending power all at once. But I'm not going to need this on the new turn signals because the control module piece is actually inside each of the turn signals, so it doesn't need the constant power and don't need all of this junk. So for starters, I think I'm just going to go ahead and separate some of this stuff out and disconnect the white wire from the battery because I don't want to short anything, and then we'll start testing things, figuring out which wire is for which turn signal. And it also needs to be separated out because I'm technically turning my one wiring harness back into two, because when the car was stock it had two wiring harnesses, of course one for each side, so I had to combine it all into one. So now I've got to undo all this stupid work that I did and everything. So a lot to get done today. Hopefully I can get it all done before the sun goes down, because once it gets dark I want to show off the lights and hopefully get them all to light up. So let's get to it. Alright, so I finally have this disgusting thing off the car, but I figure while it's here I might as well just go ahead and explain what exactly it does. So the white wire, as I mentioned before, is the constant wire. I was using yellow wires to power my turn signals, and I think I chose yellow just because the yellow wire on this harness was for the turn signals. I know some people were asking me about wiring this up and I kept saying the yellow wire. I actually forgot that the turn signal wire from the car isn't yellow, so if any of you were trying to wire this up and you were looking for the yellow wire on the car, that's my bad. The turn signal wire on the car is not yellow. That's the wire from this old contraption. But basically the resistors get wired in parallel with the power wire for the turn signals. So basically, as you can see on this one, oh sorry, that's the ground. On this yellow one, the wire's coming this way, so this would be power from the car going this way, going down, and then you can see the resistor is wired into the same wire, and then the resistor loops around and then goes back to the ground, and then the yellow wire continues through and goes to the harness. So that's to make sure that the car recognizes that there's resistance as though it were a halogen bulb, because this car did not come with LEDs. So the resistor is just to make sure that the LED will actually light up. I honestly don't fully remember what the heck I was doing with this wiring harness. So I know that the one that the yellow wire connects to is the turn signal. So luckily this yellow wire is kind of acting as a marker for me. But this wire goes into my halo headlight, and as you can see, there are two wires that I just conjoined into one, and then this ground wire also has two connections, although I believe that one of those is actually for the turn signal, so I think I'm actually going to split that back into two. But yeah, I'm not sure why the heck there are two power wires that are both going into the turn signal. Maybe this harness was used on another car, and another car that maybe has side markers or something, so it might be slightly different or something like that. I don't really know, but yeah, I just noticed that. I think it's kind of weird, but I'm just not gonna mess with that for today because the main thing is I want to see if I can get the turn signal to work. Alright guys, so I've just got my little test wires hooked up here. This one's going to ground, this one's the power for the turn signal, and I'm using the white and yellow wires on the connector for this. So the next step is going to be to cut the turn signal, which I'm not very excited about, and unfortunately I don't really have a choice. If I had just kept my stock harness intact, I wouldn't have to modify this harness to make this work, but I'm just kind of holding on to the idea that once it's all together, it'll look really clean because this connector is pretty small. Oh, I hate this. Oh, no. I'm sorry, little one. Okay, so this is obviously just like a test harness just to make sure that the turn signal will light up. Make sure if you're doing this, you close the hood too, because the hood's open, they won't light up. I learned that last time. I have the resistor plugged in and I'm getting power and ground to the turn signal. So when I click the lock button, it should do a little sequence. This should be for the turn signal. Oh, yes! Finally. Dude, that's sick. That looks awesome. All right, so I was correct. I've got them lighting up when they should be. Of course, this wiring harness is it's just for testing purposes. I don't even have it all hooked up yet, but it worked, and that's the main thing. Oh my gosh, that looks so cool, even with the plastic covering it. Oh wait, hold on a second. It's a little bit bright. Let me just turn this down. Sheesh. That's gonna look so freaking good once it's all said and done. Holy crap. Bro, check this out.
That's such a good LED too.
Dude, yeah, it's really sick. Like the whole thing looks so good. It doesn't look like individual lights, it just looks like one stream. Oh my gosh, dude.
What is the part above it doing?
That's like the ring light. I'm putting you in the vlog, say what's up.
What up?
So the turn signal's on the bottom, and then the middle section is for the running light. So once I get that one wired in, that will light up. All right, so if you're doing wiring, make sure you unplug your soldering iron after you're done, because it's been sitting right here for a little while. Oh my God. What the heck? Jeez. Okay, so I was going to wire the running light on the turn signal to be the fog light, so that way when I turn on the fog light switch, like that would turn on. But I think I'm gonna change the way this whole wiring harness works. So I'm gonna have the halo headlight turn on when the key is on. So that way they're just always on, because anytime I get in the car, I turn on my parking lights so that way those are on. And I figured I might as well just make it so that way they come on, because I never drive with them off. And so when I do that, I'll use the power and ground that run that light, and I'll use that to power the running light on here. So that way my parking light will actually be the little white LED, and I can turn that off if I want it, but it'll be on when my headlights are on. I just think it'll look cool, and it'll let me toggle these ones, but without using the fog light switch. And then it also leaves the fog lights open for if I wanted to actually add some sort of fog light later down the road, I'll just have the open circuit, so that way I can just use the fog light switch for something else.